actually Mr. Butcher over there, mentioned to me to do some due diligence into big digital assets, and at the end of it, I was automatically hooked into the products that you guys provide, and I genuinely believe that regulation is the future, much as yourself. And we saw that with Voyager today, which I hope I can sneak a couple questions in later.
For sure. Yeah, well, I saw that too. We can talk about it. And it's a big, it shows the criticality of, compliance and regulation and playing well with regulators, even though sometimes it can be slow.
Absolutely. And
the alternative is not good, as you've seen today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think that, you've positioned BIGG in a very competitive advantage kind of way in terms of what the future is going to look like. And the steps that you take are now, people are going to be chasing later if they can even. So the reason I started this entire Discord group was because when I was doing my due diligence, it was very tough to find substantial factual information, and secondly, a group of people who weren't just call it crazy. 1 minute, they're positive, and next minute they're either paid or negative. So I decided to start our own Discord private group, and honestly, with the addition of Div and Sam, and honestly, a lot of people who contribute daily to the group, everything from the moment you buy, to the moment something comes out, to a moment, careers in terms of job postings and what kind of coins you guys were looking for. So we're always talking in a positive and in a great manner. And honestly, I just want to thank everybody in the group for making it happen. So basically, on to you and going forward. The one thing I was telling Div, and I don't think a lot of people understand, is your background yourself. I think if people get to know Mark a little better with his educational background, going to Ivy in London, and some of the businesses you've developed yourself, I think people will really understand that, the person driving the ship is the person we need.
Oh, I think he's muted and I need to unmute him. Just give me 1 second. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, thanks. Sorry for that sign language, but I was stuck on mute and it wouldn't let me unmute. Not that I was hungry. So, hey, I love what you guys have done here, setting up an actual fact-based community with investors, as I like to think of you guys as actual investors, not, day traders and penny flippers and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that either. People have different business models, right? Some people day trade, some people swing trade, some people invest. And, our job is to grow a business and support our investment community. So I'm glad you guys are, you built a community, you seem to be doing it right. You've been nothing but, respectful and professional in all communication. So I really respect and appreciate that. And, happy to come today and, offer as much information, answer some questions as I can for you guys. I can't disclose any not public material information, which is really important for not doing what they call selective disclosure. Can't tell one group something and not another group, which is why we have formal press releases as a public company. But I'm certainly happy to go through a whole bunch of questions that you guys pre-prepared, which was great. Thank you, and answer the ones I can, and give my thoughts and opinions on the future, which is certainly doable and valuable information, hopefully for you guys to see how I think and how the company is approaching this market. My background, first and foremost. Quickly, I think it probably does help to, know where we're coming from. So I'm a technology guy first. So, I grew up, loved computers, all that sort of stuff. And I actually got an honors degree in computer science from out east in Canada from Acadia University. And then I jumped right into the tech scene in the late 90s. We went to Nortel first and worked at a big company and learned a lot. Amazing company at the time before it ran into its own troubles on the back end of the dot-com crash. But, it was a great training ground, I guess, for myself. And I learned a lot about building technologies. And then I realized I actually really enjoy small companies. Nortel at the time was 90,000 people. I became employee number 7. Sort of a tech startup in the Ottawa area called Sedona Networks. excuse me, and I won't, belabor every single job, but, I really enjoyed the tech side. I really understand technology, but I want to get into the business side. I want to get into the business building side. So I left, and in 2002, I went to Western in London, Ontario. Went to the Richard Ivey School of Business. Yep.
What year? 2002?
2002, 2004.
Actually, my one of my good friends got the gold medal in 2012.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But so that to me was my connection with you and Ivy, and this is a smart man.
Yeah, no,
I went to Western right around the same time. So who knows? Maybe we bumped into each other at some point.
Yeah, the Seeps or the Barking Frog or something.
Yeah.
Great school, learned a ton, and made incredible connections, actually. I mean, that's one of the big values of Ivy they talk about, which is useful to me, and I still use them today. There's people I call up when we need, I need to get some opinions on anything from marketing to finance to legal. I can still call up Ivy classmates that are, leaders in their field. Had a very valuable 2 years there, and then I went out and started working on the business side, primarily as an entrepreneur. So as I started my really truly entrepreneurial career, I started, built, and then sold 2 different management consulting companies, and they were both focused on basically top line revenue growth. So I did consulting for companies like Cisco Systems, Rogers, Research in Motion, which became BlackBerry or renamed BlackBerry, companies like that. So, big name tech companies that had budgets for consultants, but, needed smart people to help them figure out how to grow business and acquire customers and launch new products in new markets. I did a bunch of work with BlackBerry, in fact, about launching outside of Canada into other jurisdictions and markets. That was a lot of fun. But consulting is a lot of work.
And a lot of travel.
And a lot of travel. You keep moving around projects. So I decided to go what they call client side. And, about probably now 12, 13 years ago, I got out of consulting. I sold the second consulting company that I was running to a larger consulting company. And then I started.
Mark, quick question. How long were from beginning these consulting companies to exit strategy did these companies run?
Yeah, so about 5 years in total. So I probably ran the first one for 2 years, maybe. I'd have to go back and check the dates, but 2 years, give or take, sold it. And then the first one was more general management consulting. So we did a sort of a wider range, that company right out of Ivy. And the second one was very marketing focused, very, very laser focused on marketing strategies. We call it, I think, company was called Torque Customer Strategy, actually. And we sold all customer and marketing strategies. And that one lasted, we sold that about 2009, I think. So about 3 years running that business.
Amazing.
And, it's a great experience to go from an idea to building a business, a company, that people and customers and revenue, and then, selling it and handing it off to someone else. So, that was a great experience for me. And then I went, as I say, client side. I actually moved to Vancouver from Toronto, and been in the tech scene here. And, it leads right into the crypto story, because if you watch my other presentations, you probably heard this, but I was in my office one day and the world's first Bitcoin ATM was launched in Vancouver, about 3 blocks from where I was sitting, at a Waves coffee shop. And it was launched by Mitch Demeter, who I didn't know at the time at all. But he's a, true crypto entrepreneur. He actually, had the machine designed and built, and CBC and all the media came from all over the country, and it was international news. And he launched this thing, and I started paying attention, started buying crypto. I'd make 40% on my Bitcoin from $300 to, $420 or something. I'd sell it, and I think I was a superhero. And of course, you should hold on to $400 Bitcoin. And
you didn't buy a pizza with it, did you?
And I think I was early when I say things like I had Bitcoin at $300, and then Mitch talks about when he had Bitcoin at $10.
Yeah,
true story. So there's guys that were around in the single digit time, but anyway, I got interested in the business, and then late 2017, blockchain crypto really started taking off, and that's when I got involved with Netcoins. I actually got headhunted to join Netcoins as the first real employee. There was basically the founder, and he had this, built it in his mom's basement type of thing product that did virtual ATM software. So it did Bitcoin ATM software, but they could actually run on a computer. So you could sell it to a convenience store, and they could sell you Bitcoin using this technology. That was the core business that I joined. and eventually became what Netcoins is today. Because back then they didn't even really have exchanges. Like people were wiring money around the world to unknown addresses, hoping they could get crypto sent back to them. Most crypto was sold OTC or in person, you know, through relationships. A lot of people held their own crypto wallet and just sold to other people, and you know, took a percentage and stuff. So that business, you know, we grew it to, I don't know what it was, 15 people. We took it public, et cetera. And I was the CEO from when they called me. Basically, I had 2 coffees, and I said, okay, let's go. I'll help you grow this business. And we grew it from the early days. So, you know, I've been in this business since, I think technically January 1st, 2018. It's not fly by night here. We're 4.5 years into this now, right? And we keep growing and adding and growing the business. But crypto winter hit. Probably everybody's well aware of 2019, and you know, particularly 2018, I guess I should say. In 2019, I went to a conference in the Bahamas, the one I just got back from, which was a capital markets conference to support public companies. The first year I went there in early 2018, there was about 90% crypto companies. Literally, it was like every single company was crypto, with the odd mix of a healthcare or a tech something. I went back a year later, and there was 3 crypto companies. Everybody else was gone. They were either dead or exited the space or pivoted into cannabis or something else. But I was a believer in the space, and that's the only reason I got into it. And the people around us were believers, and they said, you know, this is going to pass. Crypto is not over. It's just going through a pullback from that big run. So the other really good company in town that was acting the same way was Blockchain Intelligence Group. And so got together with that management team. We said, let's put these 2 companies together, more efficient, you know, everything from one office, one public market CFO, one listing, which means one set of listing fees, one IR program, et cetera. And it was absolutely one of the smartest things we could have done, because it gave us strength. It gave us 2 businesses that we could promote and sell, and had it all under one umbrella. So that is the birth of Big Digital Assets. Was August 2019, in the depths of crypto winter. We took these 2 good companies, really good companies, put them together and said, we'll be stronger together. We'll survive crypto winter, and, you know, we'll come out the other side. And that's when I was telling everybody to buy our stock at 3.5 to 5 cents a share. And, you know, a lot of people did, luckily and smartly for them. You know, and then the story evolved into where it is today. But you know, it's probably a long answer, but that's my background.
No, that's fantastic.
Experience to getting here today.
No, that's fantastic, and that's honestly what I wanted to achieve from that response. So perfect.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand, you know, I guess the genesis of the company, but you know, I think the story is definitely you know, amazing to see. I think, you know, when we look at Big Digital, just the, you know, the different aspects of the products you have, especially Clue, right? I mean, that's one that, you know, I know our group is really, really excited about. And, you know, there's not a lot of different, I guess, exchanges out there that have that sort of product suite.
Yeah, so I would say none. I mean,
yeah,
we'll talk about it, but, you know, it's an extreme differentiator for us. You see the companies that are just exchanges, you know, and we have the entire other half of the business, not even counting TerraZero and other things we're doing, but with the forensics business, huge differentiator. And it makes it like, we understand compliance. We understand what's going on in the guts of the blockchains, and other organizations don't at all. And in fact, they have to pay to get that kind of technology available to them.
Yeah.
So staying on Big, I should say. So, you know, based on what's happening now with volatility and everything in the market, is Big looking to increase their Bitcoin pool? Are we holding, or are we looking to possibly increase our BTC holdings? I think we have 500 now. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we're holding. There's Bitcoin. There's no exit plan. We will hold as long as possible. I, you know, personally, fundamentally believe we're going to see $100,000 US Bitcoin in the next, you know, 6 to 12, maybe it's 18 months. I don't know, but it's, in my mind, it's absolutely inevitable, because I live in the industry every single day, talking to customers, talking to institutions, talking to bankers, talking to hedge funds. I mean, you name it, there's no way it doesn't go there. The demand is continuous. And you have, between 5 and 10% of, let's say, Canadians and Americans owning crypto. You can't tell me that 80% of, or 70 or 60% of North Americans won't own crypto in the next few years. And I don't know, I can't predict the time frame, but it's like everybody owns stocks. Everybody is eventually going to own crypto, and they might own crypto stocks, right? It might be crypto ETFs. It might be the spot ETF that finally gets approved. It's see Bitcoin go up 10,000 US a coin the day a spot ETF in the States gets approved. It's a personal belief, and it's certainly our corporate belief that crypto is inevitable, and the increasing value of Bitcoin in particular, due to the supply side restrictions of 21 million Bitcoin, the prices will continue to escalate. So when we put money into Bitcoin, it's for the long term. We have it oscillates depending on the price of crypto, 50, 55 million in cash and crypto, we say, but about half of that is our Bitcoin holding, and the other half's in fiat. And we believe we're going to get a far better return on the Bitcoin in general than a fiat. And so we're holding it. We may hold it for many, many years. There's absolutely no plan or strategy to sell it. We would ever do that if we had no choice. If we had, for example, run out of money and had to sell it, then of course you'd have to sell it, but that would not be my choice. We'd want to hold it long term. And I think we're comfortable right now with our mix of fiat and crypto in our treasury, and that's how we, I guess, would consider whether we buy more or not. Will be the balance in the mix, and that's a dynamic decision. But for now, I think we're really comfortable where we are. We're not aggressively buying more, but we'll watch the market and make, I guess, proactive decisions once something changes, or maybe I should say they're more like reactive decisions, because we are comfortable with our current holdings.
So what are your, I know on your deck for the upcoming catalysts for BIGG this year, what do you still believe we can accomplish this year? What do you think might take longer in terms of the catalysts that you were hoping for 2022?
Yeah, I don't think any of them have changed particularly. So, I'll go through a few of them, right? The US launch for Netcoins, we're as keen as ever to do it and do it right. We were definitely delayed by regulators being able to add coins to Netcoins. And until we had more, we didn't want to go out into the US with a product that didn't have enough digital assets for people to buy, enough selection. But we had continued working in the background, as we said in our recent news release, on setting up everything from our banking, our compliance, our MSB licenses, our no action letters. You can see how critical, or maybe it's not obvious, but that stuff takes time and is absolutely critical in a proper launch. And we do see some opportunities to make some changes to the product with some technologies that are only available in the US for US citizens. Essentially, we talked about KYC. We're going to change a little bit about how we do KYC for the US, so it's even smoother. But nothing's changed there. We fully are excited and intend to launch in the US. It's a big market. The first two states alone that we've talked very publicly about, with California and Texas, essentially triple our addressable market size. So that's still going to happen, and we'll get to it as soon as we can possibly get to it. We're working on it every day. The TSX uplisting in Canada, there's a couple of things that have to happen first, and we've talked about this in various places, but we need to get our financials filed for 2021. It's a listing requirement from the TSX, so they're due at the end of April. A lot of people don't understand filing timelines, but it's 4 months after the end of a fiscal year as a CSE listed company, public company. So we have to the end of April to file our our audited financial statements. And those are essentially used as the listing statement with the TSX to uplist. We have had regular monthly meetings once a month with them for, I'd say, 6 months now. They know the business, they understand it. And they said, there's basically two things that we need to see from you guys in order to do the listing. One, you need to get legalized. So, they said you need to have Netcoins regulated. And, we started talking, there was no regulated crypto trading platforms whatsoever. So we were the first public company in Canada to get our trading platform license. So that's done, big checkbox for Netcoins. And the second part is, as we got towards the end of the year after the license, they said, well, we want to see full year financials audited because of the amount of growth you've had in 2021. And really the numbers in order to meet listing requirements, we needed our 2021 year in the books. So that'll all happen by the end of April, and then we can sit down with them and go through an actual formal application. And it could still take a couple of months. So I don't want anyone thinking that, 2 days after April 30th, we're going to be on the TSX. It's going to be a process, and we're going to have to get through applications, and they're going to ask us to file more information. You go through it, it's a handshake and a dance. And, I fully intend to get it up and done this year, hopefully by mid-year. The Nasdaq was another thing we've talked about. The Nasdaq is not conducive to technology companies uplisting right now. So it's very market dependent. Would we love to be on the Nasdaq? Yes. Are we able to be on the Nasdaq? Yes. I've actually talked to the exact same lawyers that have uplisted companies like BitFarms and Hut 8 and other Canadian crypto businesses. And, the only thing we'd have to do would be a reverse stock split. So the stock price would hit a US minimum. People generally don't like reverse stock splits, but if it's uplisted to the Nasdaq, it can be actually seen as favorable.
You get more volume, right? More eyes on it.
More eyes, more volume, et cetera. But, the market can be harsh on tech companies in the Nasdaq as well if you don't have a strong market. So, you're going to see the exact same thing being talked about from other tech companies and other crypto companies. The market has to be open, as they would say, to do that and make sense. We're not going to do something that's not good for our investors or ourselves. So, we're going to watch and monitor that situation. If it makes sense, we'll do it. There's nothing, again, materially standing in our way, but we need to make sure it's good for us. Other catalysts. So coin launches, we just got 5 coins finally launched end of last week on Netcoins, which is great. You're going to see another tranche within a week, which is going to be fantastic. We should, we'll be double our coin listings basically in the span of probably about a week and a half from end of last week to the next week. And we're going to keep adding them. We're going to be adding more liquidity providers and more coins. And that gives, tons of great things for our customers, right? It's stickiness in the platform, more revenue. Every coin is a little revenue stream for us. So, we're excited about getting those on. Those are going to be good catalysts, both for the market and also for the business. Terra Zero, our new investment. I'm really excited about it. I think most of the world doesn't know what the metaverse even is yet or get it, but I can assure you in 2017 and 2018, when we were creating blockchain forensics companies from ideas, the world didn't get that either, right? Yeah. And that's how you get here now, is we have to be ahead of the curve. We have to be on the bleeding edge. We can't be last in. No one wants to invest in a public company last into an emergence. We're going to lose in this space. And Terra Zero is definitely one of the early stage leaders in this space. They have a long list of customers, corporate customers. You need to have a metaverse strategy now as a brand, the same way companies in 1997, 1998 needed to have an internet strategy. So this company, they're a private company, and I talk with them, I release news for them. We're an investor in the business. We own a third of the business. But as we can start talking about what they're doing, and as they're putting out information news, we can put it out. And the anticipation is that they're going to go public this year. And the return on our investment when they go public is going to be very significant. The market cap they could achieve if they went public today, based on competitors that are in the space, and their valuations would be many multiples of what we invested in. So
absolutely.
That's going to be an excellent catalyst for us. And, there'll probably be a question about, what do we do then? We'll have to decide what we do then once they go public. We're going to keep investing in coins. I said we're happy with our Bitcoin holding. But as we move into things like NFTs and Metaverse as a digital assets company, it's possible that we start acquiring some more digital assets in that space, like Mana. No firm decisions have been made, but we'll continue to look at investments in that space. On the Clue and blockchain intelligence group side, we'll be continuing to announce clients and contracts. The business is growing really nicely. nobody's interested in a press release that you know, landed another customer for $22,000 contract, right? As a public company of our size, that's not material. And you look stupid if you put a news release out every time that happens. So we don't talk a lot about publicly these contracts, but the company continues to add companies or customers, sorry, through enterprise sales. It's a classic sales business. It's very different than Netcoins, which is all marketing. But as that business adds customers, adds contracts, if there's large ones, we'll probably announce them. Otherwise, it'll be more like, look at the quarterly growth and look at what the business is doing over the longer term. And longer term is funny to say, but it's like quarter over quarter, et cetera. And we will talk about feature launches. You know, they're going to be adding a bunch of new features to the product throughout the year, including new blockchains that they can track and monitor for their customers. So those are the things that'll turn into catalysts and news for the business. But it's funny, in this business, 25% growth on a quarterly basis isn't sexy anymore, but I can tell you it's very healthy and it's a very good business to have. And that whole sector is growing at a tremendous rate now, as we always said it would. And again, when we got into it, and you know, Blockchain Intelligence Group, I think, was founded in 2015 by Sean and Lance is still the president there. Certainly in 2016, they were building out the early prototypes of the technology and trying to gain investment. You want to talk about ahead of the curve. These guys were ahead of the curve, and the market didn't take off as soon as they thought it would, but you can see it taking off now with everything from trucker convoys to, you know, wars in Russia and crypto being used as a safe asset against rubles and sanctions happening, and governments passing, you know, executive orders to study cryptocurrency, you name it. This market is going to be absolutely huge. And there's really only 4 or 5 players in the space. So, you know, I love what we've done with that business and Lance has done with that business. But it's not an overnight thing, right? These companies, you want to build multi-billion-dollar companies, they're going to take a couple of years. And if you can't handle, you know, a 3% down day in the public company that's building on a multi-year scale, then, you know, as the old saying goes in crypto, you don't deserve the 10% up days. But it's a day-by-day business building we're doing over here. So those are a lot of the big catalysts that, you know, you're going to see probably throughout this year.
So, thanks for that, Mark. Really interesting stuff there. I mean, I think when we looked at the investment in Terra, right, I think the one thing that stood out to us was, you know, the size of the investment, right? I think to us, it's conviction, right? So I think, you know, we're really happy to hear, you know, your vision for the metaverse, because I think, you know, that aligns with, you know, what a lot of us were thinking as well.
Yeah, and I mean, a $10 million investment for a company with $60 million in cash and a $250 million market cap is not overreaching by any stretch. You know, there's a whole argument to be made that, you know, we should have bought 50% of the company or 51% of the company or put more money in. But, you know, we have multiple different companies that we want to support. So we're really comfortable with what we did with TerraZero.
And anything is possible in the future, right? So
100%.
You know, and to just go back to your original point of, you know, we're steadily growing 25% a year in that. You know what they say in baseball, you can hit 300 and you're a Hall of Famer. So, you know, it's how it goes. So let's move on to Netcoins. I know Div has a few questions regarding Netcoins itself, if we may. Again, all were predetermined. So nothing out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. So I think, you know, one of the most asked questions that, you know, we get from our investment group is just about the, you know, the process of adding coins, right? So we understood that there has been some, I guess, infrastructure changes or infrastructure sign off that's required in order to sort of accelerate the coins, you know, deployment of the coins. And I think, you know, we've seen that with the 5 coins that have, you know, recently been deployed. And as you mentioned, another tranche is on its way. So I think the group is just a little curious to understand about what that infrastructure sign-off process looked like, and, you know, is that behind us? Do we expect, you know, coin deployments to accelerate going forward, or you know, any other color that you can provide?
Yeah, for sure. So you know, our license, you know, we're regulated, our principal regulator is the BC Securities Commission. So we're in British Columbia, and they're part of the CSA, which is the Canadian Securities Administrators, which is the national umbrella in Canada. It's sort of like the SEC of Canada. But every province has their own regulator in Canada, and we operate in all the provinces. So we need to be, approved, and any changes approved by all the provincial regulators, principally the Ontario Securities Commission, Alberta, BC are the bigger ones, but every province fits into that. The license we got in September stated that we had to keep all customer coins in cold storage, right? Which is for safety, right? And it's smart. It makes sense that when customers, buy $100 worth of Bitcoin with us and they don't withdraw it, they leave it on the platform, that we store that $100 worth of Bitcoin in a safe and secure way. And by far the most safe way you could possibly store it is you put it in cold storage offline in multi-sig wallets where multiple members of the Netcoins and the BIGG team have to actually put in their part of the password, essentially, to unlock or move those coins. The challenge is there's a lot of coins out there and more coins every day that don't have cold storage options available. They don't exist. There is nowhere we can get cold storage for coins that our customers are now interested in trading because the market's moving so quick. So what we had to do is go back to the regulators and say we wanted an amendment to the license, and we want to be able to store customer coins in warm storage or hot wallets. And here's how we're going to mitigate it. We're going to have it insured through third parties. And here's all of our operating procedures to show you that this is safe and secure. And even if the worst were to happen, which we'd never want to see, some sort of hack were to happen, we are covered and we're insured, and the customers are not going to lose their valuable assets.
So it's great that you mentioned that, because we were, I was watching something online where they were ranking the information, and they actually mentioned that Netcoins wasn't insured, which caught me off guard because I was like, Mark's told us many times that it is insured. So I just wanted to confirm with you, I apologize for cutting you off, but wanted to confirm with you that we are fully an insured exchange.
Well, there's multiple levels of insurance. So the exchange itself is not insured, but our cold storage is insured through BitGo. And you can look all this stuff up online because it's all public information. And our warm wallets that we've established are also insured now. And anywhere we're storing customer coins, we have insurance on it. So yes. And if anybody thinks otherwise, they haven't done their research. So what was I going to say? So yeah, we needed a license, and we'd hopefully get it in a few weeks or a month. It turns out it took basically 4 months. And there's nothing I can do about it except for work with the regulators and try to go through the process. And part of it is that there's all these different provinces that each gets to look at the changes and ask their own questions and needs their own sign off. And there's 3 tiers of management inside of one province where it has to go all the way up through and get sign off. So it took longer than we'd hoped, but it's done. So it's behind us, it's signed, the license has been updated, and that hurdle to adding coins that don't exist in cold storage or that want to offer in warm storage, that's behind us, 100% done. So now we're adding coins, and you're going to see regular additions as we ramp up our coin offerings now to a much larger number than we were sitting at. So we're very excited about that. And that has occurred. I would say part of the process, because I think you were going to ask me anyway, what the process is. A, we need regulatory sign off, but B, we need to set up wallets and systems for each of the different coins that are on different blockchains. So there is development work on each of the different coins that we want to add. And we need to have our own floats, because the way we're a broker, we're not an exchange. So we don't match buyers and sellers directly. We act as the counterparty to all trades, not some other customer. And that's also, I should say, why everybody has a different license, because some crypto trading platform, CTPs, they call them in the regulatory world, some of them are marketplaces and they match customers and they need to have a different license. Some of them are brokers like us, and we don't match customers, so we have a different license. And then there's some different variations even within those licenses, depending on how you do KYC and how you do risk tolerance assessment for your customers. So there's multiple flavors of licenses, everybody should know. But anyway, since we're a broker, we maintain a float. So if we're going to sell SHIB, we have to buy a bunch and hold it so we can actually execute trades against our customer base. And then we refill our own float from our liquidity providers, which are global large liquidity providers. So we have to set up the infrastructure, we have to buy float. We have to make sure all the blockchains are working so you can deposit and withdraw coins, because some platforms will go live with a coin and they'll say you can't deposit or withdraw it, you can just trade it. And that's a lot easier, but it's also not as good for your customers. We've made sure that every time we launched a coin, you can deposit it and withdraw it. So you got to be able to handshake with other exchanges and make sure your blockchains work with their blockchains and all these sort of things. So there's some work involved, but ultimately we've been doing that work for quite some time and have a large list of coins that we're going to start playing that we already have now that we have regulatory approval.
I really appreciate that. I think that provides us with, a window into, what your team has had to go through in order to get that amendment through. As you look forward to US expansion, is the process, I guess, easier than it is in Canada, or is it, a little bit more difficult just given, all of the different states have their own, I guess, process?
Yeah, it's 6 of one and half a dozen the other here. So in some cases it's easier because some states have essentially no requirements for crypto trading platforms. Other states on the extreme end is New York, which has the BIT license, which only a few companies have ever received. And then, in between, you have companies that are states that say crypto trading or any sort of trading of this nature is money transmission. And then you have to get a money transmission license from that state. And that might be as simple as putting in an application and approval, and it could take, a month or two because you are dealing with governments and regulators, or they could have bonds. Some of them have multi-million-dollar bonds you have to put up in order to get your money transmission license. And that can become prohibitive in those states. So if you have a tiny state, like, I'm just making this up, this is not factual, but like Rhode Island, that has, a very small population, and they have a $10 million money transmitter bond that we'd have to put up just to get the license to open shop, that's going to be way down in our list of states where we'd open shop first. So we've been looking at states with large populations and limited requirements from a regulatory side to start with, where we're fully in compliance, but they're not onerous to launch. So that's the answer on how we look at the states.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I'm a Netcoins user myself. I have an account with Netcoins, and one of the things I love is just the absolute simplicity, right? Super easy to get on, super easy to use it on your mobile phone, on the go, etc. One of the questions that we've been getting from our group is, what is the long-term vision for the Netcoins platform in terms of overall functionality? Is, I guess, simplicity the way that we want to go forward, because it helps onboard people who are not as crypto familiar, right? You log on to some platforms like Binance or Coinbase, and they may have an advanced version which may be overwhelming, but it also comes with a ton of additional functionality, etc. So just curious to know what the vision or strategy is for Netcoins, and whether there is a, I guess, penchant to make it a little bit more advanced or have that sort of skew.
Yeah, I mean, our focus and thinking right now is not to build out something that's really onerous and complex. Like you brought up Binance, incredibly powerful platform, obviously, leader globally, one of the leaders globally. But I have friends that'll come over to my house and say, I can't find my own coins and my own money in my Binance app, and they've lost them inside of us. They're there, they just don't know how to get to them. And then I'll spend 5 minutes digging through Binance's app and find their coins for them and show them where they are and how they can, sell them or move them or do whatever they want to do. That's not, that level of use is not the bulk of the market. It's a lot of people that are, they just want to buy 50, 100, 1,000, maybe it's $5,000 or $10,000 worth of crypto, but they want it to be easy to use and easy to understand. And again, I think the number is somewhere between 5 to 10% of Canadians and Americans actually own crypto. So all the growth in the market is coming from people that are brand new to crypto, that are buying their first ever coins. And we've built Netcoins all along to make it really straightforward for those people to come in and understand ease of use. So if people ask, what's the competitive advantage in Netcoins? It's been ease of use. It's been great customer support. Phone, email, live chat, you get a hold of people right away and they'll help you solve your problems. We get tremendous feedback on how good our support team is. Whereas if you call Binance or, email them whatever for support, you might get a response in two weeks or zero more likely. And even in our competitor base, our more direct competitor base, it's not like Netcoins. You can wait a long time and you can not get answers. So, we've prided ourselves on being user-friendly, easy to use, great customer support. We have our education center I think it's called the Netcoins Academy, to educate people on crypto. And that's where the bulk of the growth of the market is coming from. And I think it's unlikely we deviate from that significantly. Never say never in these things. Maybe we'll bring out an advanced trade at some point for Netcoins, but for right now, we're going to keep working with what's working, I think, and stick with our competitive advantages.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Hey, Mark, I just wanted to do a time check and see, are you good to go to the end of the hour? Or I know you said roughly.
We're probably going a bit slow. We might need to do quick.
Okay.
So I'm good till 11 o'clock.
Cool. So I was thinking maybe we should just jump into the the sort of the larger questions and kind of prioritize those.
Okay. So I'm just going through the question list here real quick. What we really want.
I think I can jump in with one real quick. So Mark, I think the group is super excited and interested, in Clue and what your I guess take is on how Clue stacks up against the competitive set, right?
Sure.
From the outside looking in, it just feels like Clue is, I guess, heavily undervalued, at least in our perspective, right? And so we just love to understand your take on the competitive set and where Clue kind of ranks there.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd say when I look at Clue, I think about how do we win as much as about how we stack up. So what is great about our product that I think sets it apart? And it's probably really three things. One is our interface. So our user interface, and you guys would have seen some sort of just rude or rudimentary screenshots of it in presentations and stuff, but our ability to take a large data set. So there's 3.5 billion, give or take, attributions inside a Clue, which across, I think it's 8 or 9 blockchains now, saying, that wallet belongs to Coinbase, or that wallet is, known to be used in black market activity. So it's a high risk wallet, things like that. These attributions and the data have to be presented to someone who could be a police officer, at a small police station, knows nothing about crypto, never heard of it before in his life, really. So we have a user interface and what they call a graphing engine that makes a very complex set of data very easy to look at and understand and manipulate and sort, essentially, for our user base. So we get a ton of feedback from the customers and in pitches that are basically our. The second thing is our data set. I just talked about it. We have an amazing data set. The tool would not be useful without data, because what we've really done essentially is, other than represent it, is we've de-anonymized a lot of the blockchain. And if you can't do that, you don't have a robust data set, then it's not useful information. We can say wallet X is again, just for an example, a Coinbase cold storage wallet. That's valuable for a police officer to understand, so they can call up Coinbase. But if we say it's a wallet and we don't have any information on it because we don't have a robust data set, they can't do anything with that. So we have a very good data set in the market. We have our own data scientists collecting information. We use artificial intelligence to collect information about the blockchain, all sorts of industry tricks, but we built out a really robust data set. And the third part is price. I mean, there's some of the competitors are really expensive, and we're trying to offer very competitive pricing in the market, and that's dynamic. Our prices move, other players' prices move, but we haven't wasted money, and I think we've been efficient, so we can go out with aggressive pricing and deals, I believe, to win as well. So those are probably three of the things that set us apart. Chainalysis is definitely a much bigger company. They were first in the industry. They poured a lot of money. They have a $4 billion pre-money market cap, though, right? So we're talking about market caps. We were every bit as good as CipherTrace that got sold to MasterCard. I think we're probably as good or a better product than Elliptic in the market space. So we're right there in the competitive set. We're in all the pitches that matter. We're going to win our share, and the pie is growing as well. So, that's how I see us in the space.
So what do you want to accomplish with Clue this year? What exactly do you foresee this year entailing for Clue?
Well, in my mind, it's two things. So it's technology development. So continuing to add features to the product to strengthen it. The real value in these products is the tech. People wouldn't value any of the competitors or Clue based on the revenue stream using, an investment banker multiple or a discounted cash flow. That's not how these early stage tech companies are valued. They're valued on capability of tech is and how hard it would be to replicate. You know, Clue has got probably 7 years of technology to into it, and $25 to $3 million probably of money invested in that development. And so that's what we're going to continue to focus on, is adding features and capabilities to the product, more blockchains, more things like, you know, customizable risk scoring, where we say things like, this wallet is risky because it's involved in a black market activity, that trade that we know about. But a customer could go in, or a police officer, and say, well, we're not worried about that wallet, so we're going to change the risk scoring within the system. You know, all sorts of stuff like that. So we'll keep building the product, and I think revenue, because of that, will continue to grow and accelerate. So that's the other thing we really want to see. We have a plan for pretty significant revenue growth this year, and a lot of it comes from adding to sales and marketing teams, and having more features to sell. We actually just hired, I think, a director of sales or a vice president of sales. I have to double check the title, for like the Asia Pac region. So we're continuing to add salespeople to get the product in front of potential customers. And our marketing engine is spinning up really nicely now. You would have seen that I just talked about, a CNBC quoted us on that recent hack that just happened, $600 and some million. You know, we get out there, we track the funds that were hacked and stolen, we produce graphs, we send it out to media, and then they quote us, right, and talk about us. And when they do that, customers see that, banks see that, you know, police, governments see it, organizations see it. So a lot of that stuff is really coming online really nicely now for Blockchain Intelligence Group and Clue, which again all feeds up into our goal of, you know, growing revenue and growing technology value, as I said, for our customers.
So does Clue collect, let's say Clue assists in finding a certain amount of money? Is there like a finder's fee attached to that, or anything, or is it just simply, this is, you know, you pay a license to use it, and that's it? Yeah,
there's two models. So there's the license model, where, you know, if a customer like a police department, New York Police Department, has a license, for example, and they go and recover some funds, we don't get a percentage of that. They're just using our software to do their job. But then there is other cases where companies or organizations come to us and say, we want you guys to help us try to recover these coins and funds. And we actually do work paid for, you know, hourly or by contract, forensics work, where we use our own tools, but get paid to use our tools. And part of the contract may be that we get a percentage of what is found or recovered. So we've done those kind of deals as well. But I'll be honest, more of the deals are, you know, our job is to build a software as a service product and put it in the hands of our customers for them to do their job. I always say, we're not police officers. We make technology to support police officers or law enforcement.
Understood. Dev, we can, I think, get into Terra.
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered a lot of the questions on Terra. Maybe we should just jump into the questions from the Discord group and get those in front of Mark.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so if anybody has any questions for Mark, if you can just post them in the questions category, just so we don't inundate the main page. I think there's a few already that I've kind of seen. Is there a certain amount of a number of coins that you are expecting before entering the US market, or is it doesn't matter, whenever it's time, it's time?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I would probably like to have at least 25 plus coins before entering the US market. But I also think we're going to get there quickly from that point of view on the coin side. You know, the top players, I think, are offering 50 to 60 coins. So ideally we get up there, you know, certainly in Canada and then in the States. Our goal is to have a very competitive range of coins in terms of total number of coins. So we're going to be adding as quickly and as many as we can. But, you know, I wouldn't see us going into the States again without at least 25 coins. I think it will be higher than that probably when we launch, based on what I see in our plans for addition. But then, you know, we need the other pieces of the puzzle to fall together for us as well.
And how do you go about deciding what coins you want to come out with next?
Yeah, great question. So we actually look at basically trade volumes on coins. We can actually get lists of most popular coins and how much volume they trade from our own liquidity providers. So these aren't public information. These are liquidity providers saying, here's the 60 coins we offer. And last month, here was how they ranked by volume. And if they're being, if they're higher traded by volume, then there's more money in them and there's more demand. So that's a big part of what we look at is the volume. The other part is we look at what's up and coming and new and hot would be a piece of it. Now that we, again, can list essentially what we want to, we'll be looking where the trends are because we want to be on the front end of those trends. And if something new and exciting is coming coin wise, the sooner we can list it, especially if we're one of the only few places that actually has it yet, if we're early on, should generate outsized revenue. And then we look at what our customers want. So, we have an existing customer base and they tweet us and call us and email us and send homing pigeons, everything. You can't even imagine it saying, please add this coin. I want to trade this coin. And we consider that as well, of course.
Perfect. A question here. Would you ever consider selling Clue for the right price?
I would say never, right? We are a public company. We have a fiduciary duty to our shareholders to look at all legitimate offers for any part or complete business that we have. So, it's not for sale, but that doesn't stop someone from coming in and making an offer. And if they do, we have to take it seriously and consider it as a board and what is best for our shareholders now and in the future. And if we think we can grow it more to a higher value than a set offer, then we'd keep it. But if someone comes in and offers us a price, we're like, that would take 8 years to get there. We'd have to sell the business. It would be the right thing to do and our fiduciary duty to do so. So it's not for sale, but we can't predict what could happen. We would have to take anything seriously.
Okay. A couple more here. Are you sending anybody to the Miami crypto conference next week?
Nope, I don't think we have anyone at that one. The trick is we could spend all of our entire time period at conferences and at events and at Consensus and Bitcoin Miami and capital events. There's about 10 a week that I could be at. I just got back from a great conference where we met a lot of investors.
That was my next question.
Yeah, the Bahamas conference we just got back from. I think there was something like 200 brokers at that event, and you do a speed dating setup where you meet. It's 18 to 20 brokers for 20-minute meetings and back to back to back. And I tell a story over and over and over again, and feedback was very positive. And I met a lot of good brokers that have significant size books that'll bring people into the story either right away or in a week or in a month or in 6 months. There's no way to know necessarily. But we won't be at least I won't be at Bitcoin Miami. I know lots of people going. We'll get lots of good information and feedback from there. There might be someone from Blockchain Intelligence Group going. I'm not sure. We're sort of at the size of the organization where I don't know where everybody is and what they're attending.
You're not expected to.
But I won't be there. I just got back from a conference.
So transitioning into that conference, which we do have a lot of questions about regarding institutional investors and brokers. How are we doing these days? I know there's a couple ETFs that are holding us. One of our members, ARB, does some great due diligence in terms of when they're buying for us, and we're aware that they are buying. They bought I think this week or last week. So we know they're continuously adding BIGG. But how are we doing with other institutional investors, banks, hedgies? What are your thoughts? How do you think we're doing right now and line up?
I think we're doing as well as anybody is doing in the market, I guess you'd say, right? Obviously, the entire broad market has had a tough few months. Crypto companies have had a tough few months. But our message is strong. The investors that I talk to like what we're doing. They like where we're going. And the institutions will come in and out, right? So that, they certainly do not tell us. Some of the fun stuff gets published and it's public, but there's, tons of small institutionals, investors and even larger ones in family offices that have big books. They'll come in, they'll buy, the stock will move up, they'll sell, it'll go down, they'll buy again. But I do know that, our story resonates, with building a wider and wider portfolio. I think we're setting ourselves up to do what's been done by other companies in the crypto space. If we had a wide range of assets, the price can get re-rated, I guess you say. As we have more diversity and more assets, you hit a certain market cap, institutions have to buy you, funds have to buy you. You end up in these indexes, and when they buy you, your price goes up, and that means that more people have to buy you. So you get into this sweet spot that's probably right about where we're on the edge of now, $250 million, where the institutions have to hold you as part of a portfolio. So, as we keep being successful, then they will have to buy, and that will allow us to be more successful. So all we can really do, is execute and tell our story.
Okay, so the page is going pretty mental, so we'll leave it to two more questions. The next question I have here is, what is the process or the progress, for that matter, in finding a new Netcoins CEO?
Yeah, we're looking for the right person, not just the right now person. That's how I sort of operate.
But you're still looking.
All of my business. It's better to get the right thing. We're still, oh, absolutely. So more than looking, I actually have, significant conversations with a strong candidate that I think could be the next leader of Netcoins, and it'll be a trend.
Wow.
A superb person. So absolutely, we're still looking. I filled this job when Mitch left, and he left again on great terms. I have a ton of respect for Mitch. He likes to build companies from 0 to 100 million, let's say, not from 100 million to 2 billion. He's an early stage guy, so it made sense that he left. I would have loved to have kept him, but we left on good terms, and the search for his replacement basically started the next day. But in the meantime, I stepped back into where I was comfortable, because, I took Netcoins from the start anyway. So I already hired most of the people that were on the team, et cetera. So, but, my job is to run the public company, the parent company, oversee all the different businesses, support them, block and tackle for them, et cetera. So we are looking, and I'm in, significant conversation with a potential candidate, and, we'd like to get something announced as soon as possible, but we have to, finalize the deal. So yeah, there's progress. I'm hopeful, and we are absolutely going to hire a new Netcoins president.
That's exciting.
Div, do you have any questions? I maybe have one more from here that I can pull, but I think for the most part, it's just, are we going to go to Europe and stuff? Yeah, but I'm sure in a long time. I think I can help you with that one.
Yeah. US first.
US first.
Yeah, let's start with US. Other than that, there's some sort of Medallion Hopefield question. I don't know much about that. I don't know. Yeah, so nothing to do with that. And honestly, that's it. That's all we have. So I do want to say, Mark, we truly value your time and the responses you've given us. And please do continue doing what you're doing. I'm a firm believer, and I know Div is, and I know that everybody in our group, or at least the majority of, are under the assumption, and we know that you are doing really well for us. And yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can, right? Business is never easy. There's always challenges, but that's what creates opportunities. So, we have a dedicated team working hard to build and grow big digital assets in each of the subsidiaries. And, we appreciate your guys' support in our journey of this public company that we're all owners in together. So thanks for your time today.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.